Today I'm going to be working on some lemon herb salt. I made this for the first time last year with herbs from our garden and absolutely loved it. We enjoyed this delicious herb mixture all year long, and it was a great way to use up herbs from the garden and preserve them for using them beyond just the summertime. So the original recipe I followed was from the nourishinggourmet.com, and I'll put the link down below to that. I did modify it a little bit to work for me. The base that I'm going to be making is just straight lemon zest, herbs, and salt, and then so I make a whole bunch of that, and then from there I have a seasoning blend that I like to do where I add onion powder, garlic powder, and black pepper, and then I use that on almost everything. It's so delicious. So I am going to first make just the lemon herb salt, and you can just use that, in place of salt in different recipes, but then I like to get the other seasonings all blended up, and so I have like an all-in-one seasoning that I like to put on almost anything. So you can do this recipe with any herbs. I kind of just went out and got everything from my garden that needed to be picked, and the ones I'm going to be using today are rosemary, sage, and thyme, but you could add parsley, you could add tarragon, you could add basil, pretty much any green herb you can throw in there, and you can try different variations to get different flavors. So as far as the salt that I'm using, I got this from Costco. It was a really good price. It's already ground, but you could use like the coarse Himalayan pink crystals because you are going to be blending it up like in a food processor or a blender. So really any salt will work. I prefer not to use table salt that's iodized. You get a better flavor with the mineral salts, Himalayan pink salt, gray Celtic salt, or kosher salt, anything like that. But I'm going to be using this ground Himalayan pink salt. And the basic measurements that I am using is 1 cup of salt to 4 cups of loosely packed herbs, and then the zest of 2 lemons. So I'm going to go ahead and zest my lemons and get all the nice zest off there, but I'm not going to be wasting the rest of the lemon. What I like to do is chop it up, get the seeds out, and then freeze the chopped up pieces, and then those pieces are ready for being thrown into smoothies or to throw into water, kind of like lemon ice cubes to make some nice cold lemon water. So definitely don't throw away the rest of the lemon. This recipe only calls for the zest though. I'm going to go ahead and zest my lemons just right into my Vitamix container. And I have this microplane zester that works really well. Now I'm going to get my herbs all separated from any of the woody stems with the thyme. I'm going to take off the woody stems, but I'm not going to worry about getting these kind of yellowy stems that are up at the top. So since I'm doing 4 cups total of herbs and I have 3 different herbs, I'll do about 1 1/3 cups of each. It doesn't have to be exact. Before I do this last step, I am going to turn on my oven to 250 degrees to get it preheated. Now I'm going to add 1 cup of salt to my blender. Now I'm going to go ahead and get it blended up until until the herbs are chopped as much as I want them to be. The mixture will be a little gooey at this point. You can see it looks a little bit like green sand at this point. My oven is preheated now, and I have a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper here, and I'm just gonna dump my lemon herb salt mixture onto my pan and get it spread out so that it can just dry in the oven. Right now it's kind of clumpy like wet sand, and once it dries in the oven it will be you know, more like salt or like a seasoning mix that you'll be able to pour through a shaker. I'm just going to spread this out as evenly as possible all over my pan. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Such a beautiful green color. And now I'm just going to put it into my preheated oven for somewhere between 15 minutes and 30 minutes, maybe more. Just depends on how big your pan is and how thick the mixture is, and you're just going to check it every 10 or 15 minutes or so until it is completely dried out. So it's been going for about 25 minutes, and you can see it's very dry and crumbly now. I think it's pretty much done. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and let it cool off for a little bit. Now for the seasoning blend recipe, what I do is 1/4 of a cup of the salt and herb lemon mixture. And I like to use these little jelly jars, and I found these cute shaker lids at a craft store. At some point I will look and see if I can find these online to link to down below, but they come in very handy. Then I do a tablespoon each of the ground black pepper, the granulated garlic, and onion powder. And I just get that mixed up real good, and it makes a wonderful all-in-one seasoning mix. So there you go. I will put the measurements down in the description box below. I'm going to store the rest of my lemon herb salt in some airtight containers and keep them in a cool, dry place, and they will be good for several months to come. So there you go, guys. That's how I make my lemon herb salt and lemon herb seasoning blend. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe video. Let me know if you try it, and let me know if you have any variations that you like. Of course, with the seasoning blend, you can play with it. Add more garlic, add more black pepper, or add less black pepper. However you like your seasoning, definitely make it your own. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.